which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle. A. Steering ability. B. Braking distance. C. Reaction distance. D. Perception time. A. Steering ability. The distance required to stop your vehicle depends on perception time, reaction distance, and braking distance. This changes with speed and road conditions. The correct way to use a freeway exit ramp is to A. Slow down before entering the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. C. Keep your speed constant once in the exit ramp. D. Pass slower traffic in the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. When using a freeway exit ramp, do not slow down until you move onto the exit ramp. A driver who is taking a non-prescription drug should A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. B. Drink alcohol instead. C. Continue to drive regardless of any warning labels. D. Drive only during daylight hours. A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. Many over-the-counter medications can affect your ability to drive safely. If you take medication, even a remedy for colds or allergies that is not prescribed, check the label for warnings about its effects. If you are unsure, ask your doctor or pharmacist about driving while on the medication. Round signs indicate A. No passing zones. B. School zones. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. D. Hospitals. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. Round signs warn drivers of an upcoming railroad crossing area. Drivers should use extra caution when approaching a railroad crossing.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Traffic signs and pavement markings. A. Must always be obeyed. B. Are merely suggestions. C. Must be followed only when there is other traffic. D. Must be followed only when a police officer is present. A. Must always be obeyed. Traffic flow is controlled by pavement markings, traffic islands, signals, and signs. These devices inform drivers of conditions on the roadway and help guide drivers safely to their destinations. You must always obey traffic signs, signals, and pavement markings. When you see an emergency vehicle with flashing lights, you must A. Slow down and keep moving in your lane. B. Keep driving in your lane. C. Pull to the right curb and stop. D. Stop exactly where you are. You are driving on a divided multi-lane highway and see or hear the signal of an approaching emergency vehicle. You should A. Disregard the signal if there are other lanes available for the emergency vehicle. B. Stop as quickly as you can. C. Slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. D. Increase your speed to get out of the way of the emergency vehicle. C. Slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. If you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle, you must slow down, provide a clear path for the vehicle, and stop. Don't try to outdrive the emergency vehicle. What should you do when you are going to enter a roadway from a private road? A. Blow your horn to warn cars you are entering the roadway. B. Stop with part of your car on the roadway to alert other drivers. C. Drive out fast to merge smoothly with the traffic. D. Yield the right of way to pedestrians and roadway traffic. D. Yield the right of way to pedestrians and roadway traffic. When entering a roadway from a driveway or private road, you must yield the right of way to pedestrians and traffic on the roadway. You approach an emergency vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing. You must A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Stay in your lane and continue to drive at the same speed. D. Accelerate to quickly pass the stopped vehicle. A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. If you approach an emergency vehicle, tow truck, or roadside assistance vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing, you must change lanes to allow the vehicle extra space. If there is only one lane moving in your direction, or if changing lanes would be unsafe, you must slow down to a speed below the posted speed limit and give the stationary vehicle as much room as possible. Always slow down and be prepared to stop when you approach an emergency scene. Downward-facing triangular signs. A. Indicate school zones. B. Tell drivers to yield. C. Indicate construction zones. D. Indicate railroad crossings. B. Tell drivers to yield. Downward-facing triangular signs usually indicate that drivers should yield. Once the road is clear of traffic or pedestrians and it is safe to do so, drivers may proceed. This sign means A. Slippery when wet. B. Watch for drunk drivers. C. Dangerous curve ahead. D. Bump in the road ahead. Before turning, you should A. Use your signal. B. Turn the wheel. C. Increase your speed. D. Change lanes. A. Use your signal. To complete a turn safely, you should activate your turn signal 3 to 4 seconds before your turn. The fee for an instruction permit is A. $1. B. $2. C. $3.50. D. $4. C. $3.50. The minimum age to acquire an instruction permit is 15 years old. This permit allows a young person to learn to drive with the supervision of a licensed adult. The fee to obtain this permit is $3.50. Application test fees are not included. The act of turning your head and checking your blind spot before changing lanes, driving away from a curb, or merging your vehicle into traffic is A. A bad driving habit. B. A good driving habit. C. Unnecessary. D. Not necessary if you use the rearview mirror. B. A good driving habit. When changing lanes, it is important to check your blind spots. Do this by looking over your shoulder toward the next lane. Do not rely only on your mirrors. To prepare for anything coming up on the road ahead, you should A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. B. Stare straight ahead at all times. C. Drive with your left foot resting lightly on the brake pedal. D. Maintain focus toward the middle of the road. A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. Your ability to handle dangerous traffic situations depends largely on searching for and identifying problems before meeting them. Looking far ahead of your vehicle does not mean you should simply stare at the center of the road. You need to continually scan the entire road, including the sides of the road. This sign means A. Stop sign ahead. B. Lane closed ahead. C. Railroad crossing ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This warning sign indicates that a traffic signal is ahead and drivers should prepare to react to a yellow or red light. A diamond-shaped sign is A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply. Which of the following statements about railroad crossings is true? A. It is against the law to go around lowered gates at a crossing. B. You must stop at a railroad crossing when directed to do so by a flagger. C. Not all railroad crossings are equipped with flashing red signals and gates. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must stop at a railroad crossing when directed to do so by a flagger, stop sign, or warning devices, such as gates or flashing lights. Not all railroad crossings are equipped with such devices. It is against the law to drive around lowered railroad crossing gates. This sign means A. Narrow bridge ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. C. Industrial area. D. Freeway on ramp ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers that the right lane is ending or that the road is narrowing ahead. This road sign means A. Divided highway begins. B. A steep grade is ahead. C. The overpass ahead has a low clearance. D. Two lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions are about to merge. FACT is an abbreviation for A. Finance a car today. B. Full ambulance cannot turn. C. Fear of authority causes tension. D. Failure to appear in court for traffic violations. D. Failure to appear in court for traffic violations. FACT is an abbreviation for failure to appear in court for traffic violations. When you fail to appear in court for a traffic violation, the court will notify you within 10 days of your failure to comply. Failure to comply will result in suspension of your license. A speed restriction sign. A. May be ignored in rainy, snowy, or icy conditions. B. Has a triangular shape. C. Is blue with black lettering. D. Shows a recommended speed for a curve or turn. D. Shows a recommended speed for a curve or turn. Curve and turn warning signs often have attached advisory speed signs that show a recommended driving speed for drivers in the curves and turns. Although a driver may feel comfortable driving at a higher speed in fair weather, they should never do so under rainy, snowy, or icy conditions. If your turn signals fail, you should use fill in the blank to indicate that you are turning. A. Your horn. B. Your headlights. C. Hand signals. D. Your emergency flashers. C. Hand signals. If your vehicle's turn signals do not work, you should use hand signals to indicate when you intend to change direction. A fully loaded tractor-trailer traveling at 55 miles per hour could take up to fill in the blank to come to a complete stop. A. 50 feet. B. 125 feet. C. 400 feet. D. 750 feet. C. 400 feet. Tractor-trailers take longer distances to stop than smaller cars traveling at the same speed. A fully loaded tractor-trailer may take almost 400 feet to come to a complete stop when driving at 55 miles per hour. Fill in the blank. Limit your concentration, perception, judgment, and memory. A. Only a blood alcohol level greater than the legal limit can. B. Alcohol does not. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. D. Only a blood alcohol level greater than 0.05% can. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. Even the smallest amount of alcohol will reduce your concentration, perception, judgment and memory, and your driving skills will suffer. No one can drink and drive safely.